Kingdom Hearts is a series I grew up absolutely loving, but I'm sad to admit I haven't picked up to play in over 15 years. With how much I adored it growing up, you'd think that I would have been just as eager to relive those memories and share with my girlfriend, but somehow it just never came up. That is until recently. To save everyone a lot of time, I'll give you the cliff notes and tell you this all started when I tried explaining to her how Donald Duck is canonically one of the strongest mages in the Final Fantasy universe. I don't know if she was more upset that I hadn't already made her play this absurd pop culture chimera yet, or just the fact that I'd never told her a crossover between Disney and Final Fantasy even existed. Either way, we ended up taking a detour on the way home to pick up a copy of Final Mix that very same day. What followed was a nostalgia trip indescribable with words alone, which I guess is why this video exists. So this time, I sent my girlfriend on an adventure to relive my childhood and be the one to open the door. Let's just hope she's pure of heart, because the closer she gets to the light, the greater her shadow becomes. Kingdom Hearts was one of the first games I got for my PS2 way back when. At the time, I was still fairly new to action RPGs, and aside from having next to no patience for dialogue boxes at that age, my strategy boiled down to hyperactive button mashing at best. Nonetheless, the weight of the opening act to Kingdom Hearts 1 was something I could feel even way back then.
Also, why does he have so many zippers?
Every decision the game makes you take in this beginning section feels like it has the weight of the world behind it, and amusingly, it sorta does.
If you have to choose between a sword and a shield, take the shield.
If you must make a choice between a sword or a shield, take the shield.
I'm proud of her for taking the shield. Not just because it's the best choice, but because I'll never forget how much little kid me suffered for picking the sword. All of these cryptic questions from what's essentially the tutorial level of the game seem insignificant compared to the bigger story.
He's thinking so hard about this.
So are you.
Yeah.
But in actuality, they have rippling effects for the rest of your playthrough.
What are you afraid of? Getting old, being different, being indecisive. Did you see how long it took me on all the other questions?
Without getting too overly complicated, they'll determine when you learn certain abilities, and not all are created equally. Depending on your choices here, you can be in for a very simple or rough playthrough of the game. Ironically, in her case, following her heart gave her an ideal setup for a newcomer's first journey.
This is very dramatic. Your adventure begins at dawn. As long as the sun is shining, your journey should be a pleasant one. That's awesome.
Before we go any further, I've got to mention that Kingdom Hearts is a very story-driven game, and that story gets extremely convoluted as you dive deeper into the later games and spin-offs.
Wait, are you seriously telling me I just woke up?
By comparison, KH1 keeps things pretty simple, which is probably for the best for my girlfriend's sakes.
It's a fancy castle. Donald Duck?
That being said, the plot can sort of fly over her head at times, as it's hard to tell when the game wants to be taken seriously and when it's doing something just for laughs.
What the hell is this game? The mini doors and the big door.
What she believes is going on tends to be a little different than what's actually happening during her crazy adventure, so bear with me.
Donald Duck was the king's advisor. And the king was Mickey Mouse. This game.
This is a series that will look you dead in the eye and treat some of the goofiest scenarios imaginable with such sincerity and drama you might do a double take. In no other place can you expect to shed a tear over heartwarming dialogue delivered by none other than Donald Duck. It's hard to explain the feeling, but when you get wrapped up in it and invested in the characters, the story doesn't feel out of place at all.
Oh, and now we're back on the island. I don't know what that was.
I think even the most dedicated fans can admit that at times the game takes itself way too seriously, but I think my girlfriend put it best when she said it does so in a cute and endearing way.
Oh yeah, so like, this is like the second day. I don't really know where we were like sleeping, but Riku was being like super angsty. And he was just having all these like deep thoughts about like why we're here.
I've always wondered why we're here on this island.
So metaphysical.
If there are any other worlds out there.
Why are we here?
Why did
Just
we
to
end
suffer?
up on this one?
It's kind of poetic, don't you think?
Growing up playing this, I didn't really think too much about it, but as an adult, it's hard to believe this even exists. A crossover between Disney and Square is something so out of left field, if anyone were to suggest something like this in contemporary gaming, it would get memed to death before ever leaving the launch pad.
Mickey Mouse. That's King Mickey to you. Whoa, look at this warping.
Say goodbye. There's big trouble brewing. Not sure why, but the stars have been blinking out, one by one. And that means disaster can't be far behind. We need that key or we're doomed. So go to Traverse Town and find Leon. He'll point you in the right direction.
Leon!
Looking back, I can't help but break into laughter seeing these characters interact with one another, and she was much the same.
Oh my god! What are the little guys on Tatooine called in Star Wars?
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it's a Jawa.
That's a pretty tall job
It's 2 Jawas in one.
in a trench coat.
Yeah.
It's wild enough seeing Donald and Goofy meddling throughout the other Disney worlds they don't belong in, but then things get amped up to 11 when they've got them going toe-to-toe with Final Fantasy characters. Like, honest to God, what other universe can you watch Cloud Strife bully Goofy in the Olympus Coliseum?
Yes, it's so cute and funny.
This is also a good a time as any to bring up how this was her first exposure to a lot of these Final Fantasy characters in a game,
He's got lots of zippers too.
even if it wasn't necessarily their game.
I love her hair.
Naturally, being around yours truly has resulted in exposure to them by face and name, but it's always been out of context. Finding them in Kingdom Hearts doesn't really add much in the context department, but it did add to the wonder and discovery for her to stumble upon a familiar person here or there. Similarly to what happened with me as a kid, I hope this series can be a gateway drug of sorts for the Final Fantasy series as a whole.
You literally have that sword. Ah! Oh god, okay.
Anyways, along with meeting up with several famous Square characters, there's also her 2 loyal companions for this journey who need no introduction. Donald and Goofy are household names, but not usually associated with combat. As she learned from her first boss battle with the guard armor, they aren't the most reliable at dealing damage, although they come with possibly an even better perk in that they act as a distraction to split up the enemy's aggro and take some of the heat off of her. It'll take some leveling up before they're able to really pull their weight, but the novelty of fighting shoulder to shoulder and ruffling feathers with Donald and Goofy still hasn't gotten old even after 15 years.
I did it! Look at this dramatic finishing blow. Do you see Donald just then?
Her companions also come with the Gummy ship, which means she can finally get out of Traverse Town and start her adventure properly. For those who don't know, this is a mini game you play while traveling in Kingdom Hearts. Now I know the ship has a health bar, but I honestly didn't know you could actually die on the first flight.
Oh shit, God damn it, I can die on the way here?
It may have been a long time ago, but I can't remember ever struggling to fly the ship in these games, even before knowing how to use the upgrade system. That being said, it took her more than a few tries to make it to some of the destinations. Fortunately, later on you do end up unlocking the ability to warp back and forth to already visited worlds, but the initial flights to a new place were always rocky. The funny thing to me was that more often than not, she would have taken less damage if she just stayed still.
Oh god. Ah! Because I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull it off.
With the goal of locating King Mickey and her friends from the island, she finally set out into the various Disney worlds to fight the Heartless and track them down. This is where the true novelty of Kingdom Hearts shines brightly. There are a total of 8 different Disney worlds to explore, all of which are from films the two of us grew up watching. The nostalgia for seeing these characters come to life in this game was more than enough to get her started.
Oh my god, I get to slide on the tree trunks like Tarzan! This is like actually a dream come true. Oh my god! Shit! Ah! Ah!
And although not all worlds are required to finish the game, I had a feeling she'd end up doing them all anyways.
That is so freaking cute. Stuffed with fluffies, waiting up.
I don't know what she was expecting, but it took her by surprise after touching down in Wonderland for the first time.
Fall in with the Wonderland. It's like when we fall in after crawling through the tree after the rabbit.
Being able to experience some of her favorite stories in this new light was something she could only dream of as a young girl.
Look at us go!
For a player like me, the novelty of the Disney worlds is more or less worn off by now, and it's the challenging gameplay that draws me back into the game. But I can see how being somewhere familiar to her increased her enjoyment and desire to play. It was for this reason that once she got the mechanics down, she devoured the worlds one after another. We went from clearing 1 keyhole a night to 3.
So did I just beat this world then? Because I got the keyhole? Did I free Alice? Uh-oh. But I can leave this world now? Oh, so I just saved this world.
Funnily enough, it kept feeling like each world she visited kept becoming her favorite.
Wait, is this Tarzan? Oh my god! This is Hercules! Yo! Aladdin! I'm going to Agrabah! Princess Jasmine and Raja! One step ahead of this time, one swing ahead of the sword. I steal only what I can afford.
Every time we'd seal a keyhole, she'd triumphantly declare that this world was her new favorite, before we'd move on to the next and she'd change her mind almost immediately.
Tarzan! Ah! He just saved my life! Oh! This is actually my favorite Disney movie though, so I'm so excited. Yeah!
It's cool looking back at the variety of Disney films that were incorporated in the first installment of the series because it really sets the tone for what these games are like. Just when she thought she'd seen it all, something new was waiting around the corner to blow her mind.
Halloween Town!
As a spectator who always knew what was coming up, it was never a letdown to see her reaction.
Whoa! Oh my god, we're in Neverland! Ah!
One thing they nailed about these games that remains magical to this day is how when visiting a character, they make you feel like a part of their world.
I'm a merman! Wait, this Little Mermaid?
Something as simple as a costume change in a place like Halloween Town was enough to take her experience up a level and make it all the more of an immersive world.
Boys and girls of every age want to see something strange. Follow us and you will see this real town of Halloween. Our outfits are amazing!
A handful of the Disney worlds allow you to fight alongside other characters as temporary party members. Unfortunately, you're limited to a group of 3, so either Donald or Goofy has to get benched. She rarely would pass up the opportunity to spend time with the other characters, so she'd usually bench Donald. Unfortunately, his lack of defense made him too squishy to stay on his feet for most fights. Of course, what she didn't realize was this just increased the level gap between him and the rest of the party, which only added to the problem. But I guess it wouldn't be a Kingdom Hearts playthrough if Donald didn't spend half of it knocked out.
Donald's acting like he was there this whole time.
An unfortunate side effect of swapping out her main squad for the additional members was that she missed out on a lot of Trinity marks. These colored symbols can only be activated by Sora, Donald, and Goofy, so many chests and goodies were left behind on her first pass of a world. In any other game, the chests and treasures may have stayed locked forever, but that's what made Kingdom Hearts special. As I've come to learn, the key to making her side quest is give her a worthy motivator. And as it turns out, the best way to get a girlfriend to go out of her way to open every chest she comes across is to fill them with puppies and pages from Pooh Bear.
I found the puppies!
It's becoming clearer to me how much the games I've made her play have left their mark on her, as the anxiety saving in this one is completely off the charts. This has always been a problem in pretty much any game she plays, but it was so much worse in Kingdom Hearts for some reason. She's the absolute worst anxiety saver and can't walk past the save point without taking a pit stop to save, even when nothing has happened since the last time she saved.
I have some unfinished business with
What
this
the
puppet.
hell?
He's no puppet.
Is he one of the princesses?
Pinocchio is my little boy.
Sora is being
He is
so...
unusual.
Or not Sora.
Not many puppets have hearts.
I keep saying
Not
Sora,
sure.
but I mean
maybe he can
Riku. But
help
he's being
someone
so
who's lost
freaking,
theirs.
like, moody
Wait a
and
minute.
angsty
Are you talking
and...
about Kyrie?
What do you care about her?
When I think of Kingdom Hearts, platforming is far from the first thing that comes to mind. That said, never has the platforming looked more challenging than when she's the one playing the game.
God.
Movement in the first entry of the series isn't exactly smooth, and the clunkiness of the controls only adds to the jankiness of navigating some areas. Still, I find the heavier, weightier feeling of Sora's jumps somewhat charming and reminiscent of games from that era.
But there's nothing here. Oh.
Things do eventually improve as you learn new abilities to flesh out your options, but thematically speaking, the two of us wrote off all of her clumsy platforming fails as Sora tripping over his own oversized clown shoes.
No! Why did I do any of that? I'm just trying to get the treasure that I've earned.
The game's age probably showed the most with its camera controls, though. It's safe to say she's been a little spoiled by how far third-person camera controls have come in modern games. We've joked about her fighting the camera in the past, but she's never had to endure the pain of those early PS2 controls, where you have to wrestle the camera just to look where you want it to.
Oh my god. I don't know. I can't tell where he is.
Funnily enough, she doesn't know how good she has it. Back on the original PS2 version of the game, I vividly remember having to pan left and right using L2 and R2. Thankfully, what she has to work with on the PS4 version is all about using the right stick, which by comparison is a huge improvement.
Hush. What I'm saying is, you know what's really nice for jumping is when it doesn't let you move the camera.
Locking on in battle is often the better alternative to messing with the camera, since it also makes it easier to land your swings. However, locking on can be hit or miss at times, especially in a large group of enemies.
Oh my god, if I end up back here one more time, I don't know how to get anywhere.
A common gripe from her was when she tried to lock on and the camera would subsequently whip around 180 degrees and lock onto something right behind her instead. You could cycle through all the lockable targets with the left trigger, but whatever the cause, my girlfriend would rather just unlock and relock, repeating this 180 degree turn thing over and over and over again. I haven't gotten motion sickness from a game since the last time I put on a VR helmet, but watching her in Atlantis had me needing to step out and catch some air. Admittedly, it wasn't always the most reliable tool at her disposal, but it was the best she had to work with nonetheless.
Shit. I tried to lock onto her. This is so janky.
Even when locked on, she'd whiff a lot of her swings with enemies that like to move around a bunch. The thing she struggled the most with was getting close enough to hit them in the first place. I think the main culprit of this was constantly switching out her keyblades, as she'd usually try a new one as soon as she unlocked it.
That one looks amazing!
It was like a wrought iron.
Yes.
Although the strength stats tend to go up with each new key acquired, some come with better reach than others, and she wasn't always accounting for those changes. Her bias to whichever ones had a higher strength stat often came at the price of something else, and reach isn't quantified in the stat menu. I'm sure she could feel the difference, but it didn't stop her from griping about it until she found a new and longer blade.
Ooh. I'll rock that one for a bit.
Kingdom Hearts favors a very aggressive playstyle. When a Heartless is defeated, it will usually explode into bubbles that recover your health and MP. She developed a bit of a reckless approach to combat thanks to this mechanic. More and more, she would focus less on her own well-being and more on getting the enemy down, since she knew she'd have some tasty health orbs waiting for her. If she could finish off her opponents fast enough before they could finish her, then she'd usually make up the difference in health with their drops. Ironically, early on, she often took more damage trying to chase after the healing bubbles than if she would have just focused on fighting the rest of the enemies.
And I have a kind of a see, I have a strategy.
Yeah, it's let it do all the work.
He did nothing. Did you see me? I was like behind him the whole time, bopping him with my sword.
When it came to combat, menuing was the biggest hurdle for her to overcome. Anytime she was trying to do anything beyond just attacking, navigating the menus was so cumbersome and awkward for her. Many of her deaths early on came from just not using an item or potion fast enough. I had no doubt she'd improve with practice, but she definitely narrowed her playstyle down to swinging and healing because of her anxiety surrounding the interface. Summons were one such casualty thanks to being at the bottom of the menu list. There are some really fun characters you can summon to help you that I know she would have loved to see, but every time I tried steering her towards them, she'd get overwhelmed at the prospect and gravitate back towards what she knew already worked.
You didn't even live in space.
It was a shame that they went so underused in her playthrough, but at the very least it kept the game challenging for her. She was vaguely aware of receiving them, but once the fight started, for her, it was like that option didn't even exist at the bottom of her list. Nobody should tell her that she could have just scrolled up. Unlike summons, spells and magic were much more accessible thanks to her use of the shortcut menu. Offensive spells were used a bit in the early game, but it didn't take long for her to tumble down the cure and arrow combos so many of us use and abuse to this day. Pretty much as early as she could, she mapped cure to the same button as her main attack so she could top off her health at a moment's notice during an onslaught.
Heal. What the hell?
She made an honest effort to try using other spells, but I think scrolling through different magic was more trouble than it was worth. It was only a matter of time before her MP bar transformed into something more like a cure bar.
I'm out of cures.
Towards the later portion of her playthrough, most of her strategy boiled down to swinging wildly at enemies until either they ran out of health or her X button broke.
Like, should I be doing something else, like magic?
Oh no, you're fine. I just think it's funny.
I just freaking got over here. Oh my god. I can't focus because I got you over here. Hit him with a keyblade. And Jafar's teleporting all around. I jump up to get him. He's there for a split second, and then he's across the room. And Jeannie's over here looking all depressed. I saved! Why do I have to get all the treasure again?
Anytime I brought up concern for the loud button mashing that was coming from across the room, she was adamant that that wasn't what she was doing. But my poor controller begs to differ.
Ah!
Since recovering MP comes from dealing hits, her strategy involved wailing as hard as she could on enemies until she could squeeze in a heal before wailing some more. I remember using a similar strategy when I was in grade school, but I don't remember working half as well as it did for her. I will say that the addition of the Leaf Bracer ability in the remix was a godsend for this all-out assault strategy because it stopped her from getting interrupted during the heal animation. That being said, she didn't even equip it till the last area of the game. So as much as I want to say I would have been a better player as a kid if I'd had access to it, the reality is I wasn't reading tooltips back then anyways.
I like healing in midair. I learned that I can do that.
As she got more comfortable with the controls, her confidence in navigating the world improved exponentially. Understandably, as you make it through the later worlds, more movement options become available to you. But even a higher jump can't do all the work on its own. By design, Agrabah is a fairly vertically focused level, proved to be quite the obstacle for her first time through. Although, when she made a trip back to find some Dalmatian puppies, she made quick work of it. I knew something changed when I witnessed her platforming to the top of Oogie Boogie's haunted house, and thought about what a leap in competency she displayed compared to watching her fumble through the trees of Tarzan's jungle.
I'm getting better at handling the jank.
By the time you finish Neverland, platforming is all but a formality. Access to the ability to glide pretty much opens up most of what's left to find out there. Of the various secrets and goodies the different worlds are hiding, high jump and glide trivialize any dexterity that would have been required to obtain them on a first pass. Jumping across gaps becomes completely redundant with the ability to soar over them instead. It also makes a great gap closer in combat to boot.
We can actually fly, not just in Neverland?
In terms of the overarching story, her patience for the Disney characters was about as thin as a rail, in no part thanks to her feeling like she's known these personalities for years.
A snake slithered by. You
That's
see,
such a bullshit
I
excuse.
saved a poor gorilla's life.
Surely this world will be ours when we find the keyhole.
Well, it's already your world, Jafar. Well, just show me where your key is and I can seal you up, because you clearly have some bad guys here, some heartless.
This is as far as I can go. I gotta help Wendy.
What? Peter? We literally just helped you.
It seemed like around every corner there was some reference or character for her to get excited enough to break into song over.
I'm late for a very important date. No time to say hello, goodbye. I'm late.
Rather than just tell you about it, I think it'd be much easier to just put her exuberance on full display.
2 worlds, 1 family. Trust your heart. Up where they stay all day in the sun. Ba-da-ba, ba-wah, ba-ba. You ain't never had a friend like me.
After all the Disney shenanigans are tied up, the last 2 worlds of the game are where things get more serious.
The music is completely different. Or just, it's a new version. It's not as like, oh god.
After riding the high of rescuing the worlds, I think we were all humbled a bit by the start of Kingdom Hearts' penultimate world, Hollow Bastion.
Whoa! What? He just took the Keyblade from me.
Here, go play hero with this.
What a douche! What? Are you guys kidding me? They just left me! What the hell have we been through?
There was plenty of sass thrown at the villains this playthrough, but no one got more than Riku. You could say she had this coming for all the shade she'd thrown, but he didn't exactly start off with his best foot forwards either.
I'm gonna be the captain.
I get to share the Palpu with Kyrie.
Whoa! He just took it to like the whole next level. Like I'm gonna be captain. I'm gonna be the cute girl.
Even without the Keyblade, she had the beast at her back and the know-how to make it through the labyrinth of puzzles hiding beneath the keep. After running for most combat encounters with that godforsaken wooden sword, she was finally able to catch up with her companions and set things straight.
If he says my heart, oh my god.
Your heart?
Oh my god.
I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
The Keyblade respected that. Yo! Oh god.
It's Dusty Islands all over again.
Oh my god, is he gonna do his freaking kip ups? No! No! The goddamn kip ups. Yeah! Yup. He's my best friend.
I remembered Hollow Bastion being way harder than she made it look, and I felt kinda silly hyping it up so much to her during her flight there. There are a slew of boss fights back to back to back in the last sections of this area, and I can practically recite the cutscenes by heart thanks to how many attempts they took me as a youngster. Fortunately for her, yet another huge quality of life change in the final mix is that she can skip cutscenes after seeing them for the first time. It's a shame that she'll never know the pain of the Dark Riku battle, where you could literally get up and grab a snack from downstairs and come back to the cutscene being not even halfway finished.
Fuck. I did my best.
But at the very least, it meant her attempts didn't drag out any longer than they had to.
Woo! Save my friend Riku. Release him, Ansem. Ansem? 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 Is that like handsome?
What can we do?
Maybe we gotta go wake Kyrie up.
But how?
You gotta kiss her. That's how they do it in the
Keyblade
movies.
that unlocks
This is
people's
Disney.
hearts.
With the cheesy grin! The shit-eating grin! I knew he was gonna do that to himself. Is he bleeding? He unlocked... Wait, does he have all the princess's hearts in him? There's Kyrie's heart, I bet! Did he just sacrifice himself for her? Is he gonna be inside her now? I'm playing as a little Heartless! Oh my god, I'm playing as a Heartless! Heartless is coming after us. No, guys, wait, it's me! It's me! No, Donald, don't take care of me, no! How do I prove it's me? Oh my god.
Sora? Is that
Thank
you?
goodness she knows it's me.
Sora!
Oh my god! Wait, how did she save me?
Thank you. Sora!
The beast! Go get your woman.
Go now!
Thanks,
Come
beast.
with us.
I told you before. I'm not leaving
Wow,
without
that's so
Belle.
romantic. I don't see any of the other princes here. Aladdin, where you at? I know you're in this game.
With the final keyhole sealed, she was finally ready to tackle the end of the world. Since I haven't touched the game in over 15 years, I had no clue how the ending was going to play out for her. I remember being stranded in Hollow Bastion for weeks with that wooden sword, but watching her clear through that section with such ease had me wondering what was wrong with me as a kid. Clearly I was playing wrong because she was tearing through these boss fights left and right.
Woo! I just killed a demon in a volcano. This is insane.
Even in the final area of the game, it didn't seem like much could stop her. That was until she got to the room right before the final save point. This room is infamous for being one of the most difficult enemy encounters in the game, and it definitely stopped her in her tracks. The Heartless are relentless, and you have to fight onslaught after onslaught until the door at the back of the room is fully uncovered. I think she struggled here more than any other place in the entire game, and that's including the final boss that followed. On the attempt she was successful. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was on the edge of my seat for it, because I knew better than anyone else if she game overed here, she was going to be putting the controller down for an indeterminate amount of time, possibly through the floor.
Oh my god. Who thought this was... Who signed off on this? Heal, 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 heal. Everyone focus this fucker. Whew. Oh, okay, so that was... Okay. Oh. Oh my god.
With that gauntlet out of the way, all that was left was the final boss. Or I guess I should have said final bosses.
Is this a freaking 3-phase fight? Oh my god. No! Yeah! Take away the darkness with love! Look at that intense. Oh. Please tell me there's not a 4th phase.
These games love to hit you with those crazy 8-phase fights. In true Final Fantasy fashion, there's gotta be several transformations along with major power-ups along the way.
Is this another fight? What in the world?
Come on, Sora. I thought you were stronger than that.
Yo, Rukus cheer me on! Kind of, in his douchey way. I just thought I was done after that boss dude hard fight, so I was just like shocked when there was more. Woo! Get the darkness out of here! Oh, they keep lying to me. Seriously, like actually though. It doesn't look like it's done. Okay, well now that he's exploding. Oh.
Kingdom Hearts is light.
Yeah! I don't really understand what Kingdom Hearts is, even though this is the game I'm playing. They just kind of started throwing it around. Like, I think it's the Kingdom of Hearts.
But why?
Hearts are filled with light, yo. We're all running up to the door! Close the doors!
I can't.
Don't give up.
Huh?
Come on, Sora. Together we could do it.
Okay.
We're closing it together. He's gonna be stuck in there. Riku? I thought the big... Mickey Mouse! Wait, he's been in the darkness.
Sora, let's close this door for good.
He has a keyblade and he's been in the darkness?
Don't worry. There will always be a door to the light.
Wow. Whoa. Did we write all the worlds? Goofy's like, Donald, let him go. What? Oh, it is FMV.
Sora! Kyrie! Remember what you said before? I'm always with you too. I'll come back to you. I promise.
Wait, is it because she's from a different world? Bye, Kyrie! This song is a jam.
With the end of the game, a lot of stuff gets tossed up in the air, and several questions remain unexplained. You'd think she'd be demanding answers, but for now, she's too busy laughing at the early 2000s music video.
It went from this dramatic, like, Final Fantasy music to jamming out, like, 2003 pop.
Once the dust had settled and the credits started rolling, she was no doubt curious of what just happened and how her actions affected things. I may have teased a little bit of what I remember, but if she wants anything concrete, I guess she's just gonna have to play the sequels.
That final fight was so over the top, but the whole game was so over the top.